Hello, my name is João Magalhães. I'm a sports scientist from Catapult. If you are seeing this video, probably you have been asked to wear a GPS vest. So my job is to explain to you how that data is used, how this benefits you as a player, and how can you access to your own data. So first things first, what the device will measure. Firstly, the total distance you covered in your training sessions, the distance you covered above the speed zones, and your average and maximum speed. Secondly, all the metrics from your heartbeat, average heart rate, percentage of your maximum heart rate, and the time you spent in heart rate zones. And lastly, all the changes of directions, accelerations, decelerations, and impacts you experienced. Overall, the device will collect 1,000 data points every second. We know it can be uncomfortable to wear the vest at first, but believe me, once you've got used to it, after a few training sessions, it won't interfere with your performance. The benefit of the data that is being collected to you as a player should outweigh any negative feelings. Using the data we collect, your staff are able to gauge how much load you require, when you require it, in order to improve you physically as a player, as well as to mitigate the risk of injury. As such, this ensures you more robust and better condition to cope with the demands of the sport. If the worst should happen, data collected from your match play will be used to provide a measured incremental return to play program, hopefully avoiding reoccurrence of injury along the way. Also, for young players, this information can be used to profile you against senior players in your position. For the older players, if used correctly, this information could be used to extend your playing career. And remember, you are the owner of your data. Let me give you an example of how that data is used. Your coach receives your training data. However, just by looking at the raw data, they can't come to any conclusions. Higher numbers aren't always the better. That's why we need to know your history. By knowing what you normally do in training before the match, we can see if the loads you have done are in line with the objectives. It's always important to talk to your coaches in order to understand the data, as well as to have an idea of what you can do to improve your performance. Not everyone is the same. Your age, as well as other factors, can influence your targets for each session. Now that we know what data can give us, how can we access it and share it when we train away from our club? And this is where our Athlete app comes into play. Catapult Athlete is a mobile app that includes the ability for the data collected during a training session to be uploaded directly to Catapult software, managed by your team staff. This is especially useful if you are training or playing away from your team facilities and staff. Besides that, you will see summary data for the activities you have uploaded via the app and the activities that were completed with the team. Today, I will focus only on the summary data available to you. But before that, let me guide you through how to use the app. So, the first thing you need to do is to remove the device and switch off. First things first, open the application and log in. Switch on your device. In the app, you will select the device that you have. Make sure the device ID is the same as the one on the back. Map the device with your name, and to download new activities, select the device and then press Scan. select the activity that you want to upload, and once the upload is completed, go to your activities and access the summary data. From the summary, you will see 5 parameters: the total distance you covered in your training session, the instantaneous max velocity you reached during the training session, how many accelerations you did, and the distance you did in high speed and in sprint. If you want to compare high speed and sprint distance with someone from another team, be aware that the thresholds can differ depending on what your coach has set. As such, talk with your coach to understand what speed these thresholds are set at. Remember, when you look at the data, think about the aims of the training session and what you normally do in training sessions, for example, match day -1. In summary, using the data we collect, your staff are able to gauge how much load you require when you require it in order to improve you physically as a player, as well as to mitigate the risk of injury. As such, this ensures you are most robust and better conditioned to cope with the demands of the sport. If the worst should happen, data collected from your match play will be used to provide a measured incremental return to play program, hopefully avoiding reoccurrence of injury along the way. For younger players, this information can be used to profile you against senior players in your position. For the older ones, if used correctly, this information can be used to extend your playing career. And remember, more isn't always better. Your coach will have the targets they would like you to reach for each training session. These targets will change depending on age, position, point in season, tactical demands, and current fitness. The mobile application can be used to look at your data and share it back to your team if you are training remotely. And lastly, remember you are the owner of your data. I hope this lesson helped you to understand what the app can give you and what the GPS data can provide you.